This week on Worldwide Gaming.
I review Wolfenstein. John checks out the top 10 single-player experiences. We interview the developers of Civilization Beyond Earth at E3 2014. And a WG101 on Sniper Elite Nazi Zombie Army. Hello and welcome to Worldwide Gaming. I'm your host Ryan.
I'm Vince.
And I'm John.
And today we've got an action-packed episode, so we can't dawdle, we need to go straight to the forecast.
It's vampire hunting season in the new game Nosgoth, coming to PC. We're not too sure about this one. We've given it a 0. It's time to send the blood flying again in Killing Floor 2, set for release on PC. We're pretty excited for this one. We gave it a 3.
We are driving the renaissance of science. We lead the progress of bioengineering. We are the vision of technology.
We are genetics. We are your evolution. I am your future. I am the power.
It's Final Fantasy meets Disney again in Kingdom Hearts 3, coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4. We think it looks alright, with the barometer reaching 1.
Alright Vince, I know you're really excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. What about it excites you the most?
Well, I want them to finally continue where I left off. I played 1, I played 2, and then there was Chain of Memories, and there was all this cross-platform
1.5,
stuff.
2.5.
And I'm still interested, but I lost interest to a point where I'm just like, I don't care what's going on anymore, I just want to keep playing.
Alright, now we're actually going to review that I think, John, you'd be very interested in.
Oh yes.
Wolfenstein.
Oh yes.
Let's check it out.
The Nazi war machine is advancing at an astonishing rate. And we can't catch up. Our tactics are failing. Outclassed and outgunned. No one knows why. People are getting desperate. Not me. I'm here to see an old friend and settle a score. Turn this thing around.
There are not many developers that can say their game franchise has spanned over 30 years. During that time you can expect a few subpar Wolfenstein titles, but Wolfenstein The New Order is not one of those. It blends its old school roots with more modern game mechanics, although it does suffer from some of the problems of both schools of thought. In The New Order's alternate history, you play its recurring protagonist BJ Blazkowicz, a US Army Marine who at the game's outset is infiltrating a compound that houses recurring antagonist and general creep General Deathshead. After a failed raid on the compound, you are left paralysed in a mental hospital in Poland. And after a miraculous recovery, you learn that you've been in the hospital for 14 years, and in that time the Nazis have taken control over most of the world. It's a run-of-the-mill revenge story, but the characters involved add some intrigue, especially the few villains you come across.
What's the score, Cat?
Do or die, son. Same as always.
Hoorah, sir!
BJ Blazkowicz is very much the old school action hero. Everyone relies on him to do everything, ranging from the most menial tasks, to asking him to single-handedly infiltrate a top-secret Nazi research center on the moon. Yeah, you heard me correctly. The game usually makes each task or mission interesting though, as having to do something as simple as finding a circular saw can end up leading you through such scenarios as traversing a sewer system filled with Nazi drones.
3 pulverized vertebrae. You?
Head trauma, 4 inches of cast iron shrapnel right in the conch. Still in there.
The resistance you meet up with consists of some characters that you would have seen before if you played the previous games, and some new ones. But they have a tendency to stereotype characters such as Max Haas, the childish brute. There is also a choice about an hour into the game that will split the game into one of two timelines. The most noticeable change between the timelines is that one of the Resistance members will be different. One will give you Jay, a guitarist who, if you look into his backstory, strikes a resemblance to Jimi Hendrix. Or the much more interesting Tekla, who you'll have a chance to talk to a lot more. One major problem I have with the game is that it changes tone very frequently and suddenly. In the space of 5 minutes, you may be joking around with your fellow army members, and then suddenly being held captive, and choosing which one of them should die.
Listen to me, Fergus.
Thank you,
If
sir.
this mission fails, we lose Europe. It's not
I'm okay now.
I think it would have served the game well to stick with the more serious aspects, as if you look past all the attempted jump scares, there's some really good tense moments in the game, which I think could have been focused on more.
Hey, doggy! Hey, you okay, Captain? Take my hand, I'll help you up.
The combat itself is fantastic. There is a slight emphasis on stealth, where in new areas you can slowly walk around the level, taking out guards from behind, or shooting them in the head with a silenced pistol and hearing that satisfying tink sound of the bullets penetrating their helmet. The AI while stealthing is terrible though. If an enemy spots you, they'll usually just say, "What's that?" and before even finishing that thought, return to the designated walk cycle. Still though, the stealth sections play a bit like puzzles, and give you a break from the run and gun action, which can be a bit overwhelming at times. Once and when you have been found, you will turn into a one-man killing machine. There's a small amount of weapons to choose from, with grenades and throwing knives to mix things up. Most guns can be dual-wielded, which ends up being surprisingly accurate, and makes defeating some of the enemies with higher armor a little too easy. Although not really challenging, you'll soon forget about realism, as you're mowing down tons of enemies with fully automatic shotguns in either hand. The game looks really good too. Whether you're inside the air vents of a prison camp, the air vents of your own safe house, or the air vents of a research camp on the moon. In all seriousness though, the environments can feel a little samey. This is contextualized by the Nazis having totalitarian control over the world, but I'm still left feeling like there could have been some more diversity in the environments. That said, there are a lot of small touches that make the game's graphics stand out. I really enjoyed the effort put into the idle animations for the guns, and the fact that, in the case of the assault rifle's grenade launcher attachment, you can see how many grenades are in the clip by looking at the weapon itself, instead of having to rely on the heads-up display. Although not without its issues, Wolfenstein: The New Order is a really fun game to play. The combat alone is enough to warrant a recommendation for this game to anyone curious about playing it. If they can fix some of the issues, the game's inevitable sequel will be one worth waiting for.
Hey, darling. How about we go for a spin? Okay. Back to work.
Hey guys, enjoying the show? Why don't you check us out on Facebook where you can catch up with the WG crew and see what's happening. Also on our YouTube channel, we have previous episodes and extra content, and you can also look at our website and search for WG Cast on iTunes.